So welcome to another Exploring Consciousness with the Nouveau Hub. And today we're going to talk about mind outside matter. And it's a very open topic. So we'll see where it's going to take us. Why did it come up for me? I was going to town the other day, and on our railway station there it says, in order to be successful, you have to be working really hard, and that's why we work hard. And that was an ad for a real estate company. And I thought, you know what? That's so old paradigm. This working hard business. What about working smart rather than hard, right? Doesn't take away the effort, it doesn't take away the action that we have to take and everything, but it's a slightly different approach. Now, having said that, and again, I'm just going to set a little context here to kick it off in a certain direction, and then we'll take it from there. And then the other thing I was thinking about the mind. We always talk about mind, soul, body, mind connection, right?
Yeah.
And I came across, that idiom everybody knows. It's like mind over matter. And what that basically implies, if you look at the definition of it, is you've got to do whatever it takes. You've got to control everything in order to have no problems, overcome certain problems, in particular, obviously, pain and illnesses, mind over matter. And then I was thinking, that implies, again, first of all, it implies control, which we know is not really something that we ever have anyway, right? Again, it implies this hard work. And also, it feels slightly old paradigm. And then I looked at, what about mind outside matter?
Yeah.
Okay, Lana, do you want to say something to that before I carry on?
No, you carry on. You
Yeah,
carry on.
yeah.
I'm
I
just
just blah,
wanting you to
blah,
know
blah,
that you're
blah.
not alone. I can hear you.
All right. Yeah, we're only 3 people today, so let's see if somebody else rocks up or not. Anyway, we'll have some fun. So then I looked at the definition of we are multidimensional, multifunctional photonic beings of light, right? So we are holograms, and the soul is non-local, projecting light into that vehicle that we have chosen, that body, right? Now, then I was thinking, okay, so the soul, obviously we know the soul is not in the body, it's just a light projection. So what makes us think that the mind is in the body? Because let's face it, the mind, it's like it's not up here in the brain. We've known from scientific, explorations that the thought is not stored in the brain, right?
Right.
So what if, and then I was thinking, well, if the mind is outside matter, if I take the mind, and that was the exploration I've actually done from an experiential perspective, I said, okay, well, take this mind, the thoughts, and project them outside of my body. And then let me see, just like how it works with the soul projecting into the body, and obviously me as the avatar, the I am that owns this body and runs this body, is responsible. I take responsibility for what the soul projects into this hologram. But I'm also taking responsibility and choosing what the mind can project. What do I choose to focus into? What do I choose from this, let's call it, I want to call it a collective mind, from the collective consciousness that is in space-time equation. And what if I just tap into that, just like I do with the soul, and just grab those thoughts that actually, and those concepts that actually work for me? And then when I did this, I've done this for a couple of days now, and it has sort of changed the way I would say it's calming. It's almost like it has given me more space. And all I was doing is saying, okay, the mind is actually a pool of possibilities, a poop,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
Outside of my physical existence here. And then I can just tap in and choose whatever I want. And that very much goes in line with what we've been saying, what I've been learning also in the consciousness, the access consciousness days, where 95 or 99% of your thoughts are not yours. You just picking them up, obviously, through the psychic capacity that the body is, and you make them yours, starting from time in the womb.
Yeah. But
And
you remember a couple of weeks ago, we discussed a topic, I don't know if it was last week or the week before, and I said, I was talking about thoughts. We were pulling from the collective thoughts, and we take individual thoughts, and then we create an idea, right? So if you want to build a bridge or something like that, you have to take individual thoughts for every piece of metal or concrete or whatever you're going to take. Each one is a thought. You put those all together and you get this grand idea of a bridge in the end. So the thoughts we're pulling all the time. Well, we shouldn't even say pulling. We're grabbing,
yeah.
right? We're grabbing on those thoughts because it's those thoughts are actually from the one mind of Great Spirit.
Well, see, this is the thing I was wondering as well, because, when I say collective, there are obviously different minds out there, I would say, and there's no proof for any of that. Yeah, nobody has ever proven a cosmic mind or a universal mind, or there's the there's Jennifer. There is I just for the discussion point, for the dialogue here, it's nice. I want to look at the collective mind, and that's pretty much everything that we've ever learned, studied, heard, and it includes all the bullshit, and it includes the good stuff and everything, that collective mind. And then I would say there is the universal or the cosmic mind, but again, the thing was the experience, the physical experience of taking the mind outside of my body and just putting it somewhere in a non-matter state, like I can't see it.
Right.
It's time-space equation, the collective one at least, the thoughts and everything there. But I don't have to buy it. I don't have to take on those thoughts, because what do? We take the thoughts, and then those thoughts start triggering feelings within us, right? But the question is, are these actually are these real feelings? And do we need to create those? Is it actually beneficial to us to create those feelings, those emotional things that happen when we go and we pick up all these thoughts? This should be doing, and we should not be doing that. And then we go into that creates the emotion, that creates the belief system. And then it's this hoo-ha, and in reality, all we can do is send the thought back. We might have picked it up by accident, or just because we wanted to try it out, but do we really need it?
Yeah. Okay. So my thoughts, as I was pondering this morning, I'm coming from a different angle from where you're coming from, but we might end up in the same place in the end. And it's good because you bring your perspective and I bring mine in. Can you hear me? Because I'm having some internet connection problems.
I can hear you loud and clear, yes. And hi, Jennifer.
Okay. Hi, Jennifer. Hi, Nicola. So when I look at the topic's name, mind outside of matter, now let's come back to what Andrew said about what we're made up of. He said that we are made up of the mental matter of Earth. Okay? So the mental matter of Earth, I was thinking, that's the dreaming mind of Earth. When we come in as a fetus, as a baby, right? And our bodies start to grow in our mother's womb. That's coming in from the matter, the mental matter of Earth, because everything is energy, right? You agree with that part? Everything is energy.
Mm-hmm.
So the energy becomes more dense, and that denseness is what forms our body, right? And that's the mental matter. And that is why when we pass away, or we say we die, we have to leave the body here because it belongs to the earth. Yes?
Mm-hmm.
So far, so good?
Mm-hmm.
So now our consciousness is separate from the mental matter of earth. Yes? So we are soul shards of great spirit that came from great mystery. So when we connect to the to our fetus, right? The mental matter of Earth. Mind is not inside of matter. Our consciousness does not go inside of matter. It just grounds into the body from the heart. To me, this is my line of thinking was, right?
Yeah, keep going. Yeah.
So we connect to the heart, sort of like a stream of our photonic light, but we surround our body. So mind is not in matter. If we don't have a thought, our body cannot move. Because once our consciousness leaves the body is lifeless. It cannot come or go. Right? So far, so good?
Consciousness, yes, but the thought in itself, consciousness is not just thought. Yeah. So
No, I'm just saying, I
yeah.
was just saying that we connect to the heart. That's our grounding,
Okay.
right? Our consciousness grounds into the heart so we can animate the body, right? The
Okay.
hologram.
Yes.
So my thought, what I was thinking is that what if, and I'm saying what if the aura that surrounds our body is actually our consciousness? Because and then again, I was thinking, so the earth itself has a magnetosphere that surrounds the earth. This is what protects the earth from damages. This is what protects the earth from any kind of radiation coming in or any kind of meteor. Because if it passes the magnetosphere of the earth, it burns up and dies before it reaches the ground, right? So in that same sense, that's the aura of the earth in a way, right? I could be wrong, but I'm just thinking, this was my line of thinking. What if our body is the same, in the same sense, the aura is actually our consciousness?
Yeah, I got no issues with that because I look at consciousness as energy. So
Yeah.
everything is energy. So I hear what you're saying. Yeah.
No, consciousness and energy is two different line of awareness. Energy is what we use to manifest something in a solid form. We concentrate energy and we can have our physical body, a tree, a plant, an insect, but what surrounds that, the aura that surrounds the solid energy that becomes the thing that we see, is the consciousness of our individual being. Yeah? Does that make sense?
If you want to look at it that way, yeah.
That was my line of thinking today, because I always hear sometimes people would say there is no mind and matter.
Well,
why is that saying? There has to be some truth to it.
there is no mind in matter. Well, this is the exploration, you know. Is the mind outside matter, or it very much depends on the way we look at it, and this is how the experience changes. Yeah. So when we look at it from that perspective, mind, yeah. If I look at mind equates to meaning. We're using our mind to create meaning, right? And meaning creates matter, because without meaning, there is no matter. We go back to pure consciousness, pure energy. So what we are doing is we have to create meaning in order to create matter. And now the question is, have we, by using by taking the mind, for the people who haven't been here before, but just as an exploration, but taking the mind outside matter, how do you perceive the difference? Just look at it from a bodily perception. If you, the whole idea is to look at, so many people are completely and utterly absorbed on a mind level, right?
Yeah.
And how does that actually serve us? Does this really serve us to be that absorbed? So many people starting to feel stuck nowadays, you know, and things like that. So how can we get out of the idea? From what we're doing here is always empowering, helping people to get out and look at things from a different perspective. And I like what you said, consciousness, energy, you know, it's all good. And by just saying, take the mind outside matter, just like the soul example. And this is what triggered this idea. And maybe some people are already talking about this. Hi, Caitlin. Hi, everyone who is coming in. You know, what we are saying is just the soul is outside the hologram, projecting from a non-local place. Let's take the mind and allow the mind to project from a non-local, from a local, depending on which mind we're talking about. If we're talking about the collective mind, then it would be in time-space equation, the one we've created in the sea of consciousness, right?
Yeah.
And
That would be like,
yeah.
Never mind. Go ahead. Yeah.
Then I would say, and this is just, look, nobody knows how many minds are bloody out there. So we're just having an exploration. Then I would say there could be a mind in the ocean of awareness, which is outside of time-space equation, right? Then we have a universal mind, a cosmic mind. It doesn't really matter. But the thing is, if we take the mind outside matter, then it doesn't fucking matter, right? What we think. Nothing is so important, because it says already, the idioms, oh, it doesn't matter. Oh, that does matter. Everything matters. Does it really matter? What if the mind is outside matter? Then it's a different story, because you can actually
so now that's the play on words, matter. Whether it's matter or it's outside, it doesn't matter. It's two different meanings, right? Matter.
Some of the idioms, matter of life and death, matter of opinion, matter of concern, matter of time. This is not a laughing matter. What's the matter? What's the matter with you, right?
Yeah.
There is so much. And none of, mind your own business. That's the mind with the mind. It's the same thing. Mind your own business. Good mind. You're not in a good mind to do certain things. So there is a lot of judgment, you know, attached to mind and matter, which then locks us in, because when we perceive our mind to be part of our body here, which it is or it is not, Yes, we have a brain,
Mm-hmm.
but we do know the thoughts are not in the brain. We all have been on a therapy couch where somebody just poked our, biceps here or somewhere on the arse, and all of a sudden thoughts and feelings came flooding back. They are stored everywhere in the body, right? Not just in the brain. So what's the whole point of this bloody mind being in the body here? If we take it outside, it's going to be so much easier for us to just play with and say, well, is this thought, did I just pick this up from the collective mind? Doesn't care. I don't care if it's from the neighbor or from my mate or from my daughter. No, I picked that up from the collective mind, because that's where all those thoughts are stored. Now, is this really something I need in my life? Is this creating a feeling in my body that doesn't make me feel good, that doesn't feel light, that doesn't contribute to me? Then send it back to the collective mind. And I'm starting to choose to bring in the thoughts that I actually can use for whatever I want to create. That's the idea of putting it outside matter.
So that's why I was having that thought about what if our our mind or consciousness is outside of our body at all times, protecting our body, um, to give us a different experience being here, in human form, to have a completely different experience, because now we can move things with a physical body. We can build things with a physical body, but our actual the field that surrounds us, right? We can taste with that feel. We can touch. This is where our senses come in, right? We can see outside of the body. We can feel things around us. We don't need to use our fingers to feel, but we can feel, right? Because it's our consciousness that's actually feeling that.
Yes. So the auric field basically contains, the consciousness in the hologram. It maintains the hologram. Yeah.
Yeah.
And this is
Yeah.
basically when you think of the near-death experiences, you can have a near-death experiences as long as you don't lose the bubble around you, that auric field around you that holds the hologram together.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So when you
Yeah.
mentioned early
Yeah.
on, when people died, that auric field just opens up, the holes in the auric field, and just this is how the consciousness dissipates, But there's
Mm-hmm.
inside, outside. For me, that I personally don't make a difference. What if it's energy or consciousness or awareness? For me, it's all the bloody same. But I wouldn't know the difference. In it makes no difference to me. But the whole idea is now, the question is, what are we choosing? What are we choosing to allow into our auric field? Be this now outside of the body, inside of the body, or not. We all know the chakras are not inside the body, but we're still talking about it as an inside the body, because there is no really significance of making a differentiation, as far as I'm concerned, depending on the
Mm-hmm.
context, of course. If you want to have a bit more a different kind of conversation, it's different. In the
Yeah.
context of our conversation, it really goes again empowerment level. If you just take the mind, put it outside, just like you put the soul outside, you have much more, it's much more empowering to bring in what you want and to send back or leave out what you don't want. Now, those thoughts that coming from the collective mind, where the 95%, 99% of our thoughts are not ours, these are the thoughts that are creating feelings, that creating a belief system that can hold us in a stuck state, that can keep us away from the truth, from our authentic truth. I would also say that there is a different kind of feeling that comes, very much like Lana, you were saying, that comes from the heart space, that doesn't come from the collective mind. And I think it is actually quite important to look at that from our level of exploration, to say, if thought is not just a thought, is this a thought that comes from the collective mind? Or is this a thought that comes from the universal mind? If there is such a thing that we can have that distinction, depending on the level of awareness. Or is this a thought, an impulse that comes from here? A feeling. It's not even a thought anymore, it's a feeling. Because when we have this feeling that comes from the heart space, it doesn't necessarily, it's very often, it's like a feeling that creates an experience where you sometimes you have to look back and say, oh shit, what was that? How can I put words to that? What am I actually thinking to that experience that I've just had? Do you find that, ladies, that, I work backwards a lot. I do things, I have this sensation, I have this experience, and I think, okay, so how can I put this in words now?
I think you did it eloquently.
Jennifer, you were saying something there.
Yeah, as you were talking, I was trying to think how it is that I perceive thought and where it comes from, and where I feel like it's my individual thought. It is very much in my head, and where it's more collective thought, I know that I bring that through my heart, and it filters whether or not I want to receive it or how I want to receive it.
Yeah, that's a good way of looking at it. You bring it in, you're aware it comes from the collective mind, but you're actually filtering it through your heart and look at the authenticity. Does this really apply to you or not, right?
Mm-hmm.
Can you also appreciate that? Do you also have sometimes thoughts or feelings? I would call those straight feelings that come and you don't know where they come from.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
Yeah.
And those we could say, yeah, they could come directly from a universal mind or cosmic mind.
Mm-hmm.
That connection. I think I was looking at that because we talk a lot about, obviously this awakening business and changing our perceptions. And then we talk about thoughts and feelings and mind, body and gut connection. And what is what's the difference between the mind, the heart? How do I know if this is a feeling from the heart directly or it comes from the mind? And, I even, go, this is my mind. Well, is this my mind? No, it's just the brain. It's just that, what is not a machine, but, it's like processor of the thoughts that are coming in from where? Mainly, not mainly, I wouldn't say mainly, but impulsed by the collective mind, as we know, by the distraction. And then, of course, there's this other, mind out there. And the question is, how can we really start tapping into that mind and working with that?
I think one of the things that I had to give up control of and allow trust is knowing what's the difference between my conscious mind and what I'm getting from my higher self or from the universal mind, and understanding like the different tones of voice or the different feelings, so that I would know that it wasn't my ego inserting bias in something, it was real information that I was getting. So I would layer that also into what you're saying.
Yes, the conscious mind and the subconscious mind.
Mm-hmm.
So when we look at that, we could say the subconscious mind, and again, this is the context, the way I started to learn about the subconscious mind, is that mind that is very much connected to the collective one. To the collective one. That's the one we are not necessarily perceiving with clarity. How have you heard about? Hi, Amy. What is your definition of subconscious and conscious mind?
When I think of subconscious, I think of my higher self. And there's the collective of higher selves, and there's the collective of all the chaos that we see around us too. And so you have to separate those also.
Right. Okay, so this is again, we need to bring this in a various contexts, because I
Mhm.
would go for the subconscious mind actually from a different perspective. This is where we have all these belief systems built up that
Mhm.
we then need to go into clearing, and letting go of everything. And the conscious mind, this has very much changed for me, because in the days where I did NLP, neuro-linguistic programming, there was that conscious mind and subconscious mind, and all the crap, the trash went into the subconscious mind. It's almost like,
Yeah.
the subconscious mind takes over. So all of that has changed. So I don't even want to get into that, but let's just stick to the mind at this level. But it's another exploration actually to look at. Yeah, absolutely. Well, and then I want to, like I said earlier on, mind is very much related to meaning, and meaning creates matter, because without meaning, we're not creating. This is just what we're doing. Having said that, this is changing as well, right? And
Mhm.
this is why I brought up this whole subject, because so far everything had to make sense. It had to have a meaning. Now, when I look at meaning, it starts to actually come through very much as a limitation. Meaning creates separation.
I like that. I like that.
Meaning
It's a
is,
limit.
yeah,
Yeah,
it's
it's a limitation indeed.
The
I
bias.
agree with you there.
definition, all of that. Meaning, it's that big basket where we have definition, where we have importance, where we have significance, where we have, I've written another, which other one? Definition, identification. This is who I am. All of that gives meaning to lives. And that obviously that worked for us very well in the past. But nowadays, when you look at it, it's almost like it's starting to become a separation. It's becoming, we are separating ourselves through identifying who we are. And that was important, because you have to disconnect before you can connect again. And this whole purpose, this whole idea of coming into this life is to disconnect from source energy, find out who we are, find our authentic voice, our authentic truth and everything, so that we can start connecting again. Because by doing that, we are creating all these experiences that are adding to consciousness. That's the whole idea. We're collecting experiences and adding to consciousness. That was the purpose of the Prime Creator, for consciousness to get to know itself. So it's that disconnection process before we can connect again. Now, once you have your sovereign boundaries, once you have your self-healing, your self-mastery, we're going back to connecting, but no longer in the old way, where we fall back into empathy, where we just basically pick up matter and all that sort of stuff. No, we're coming in now, we're connecting back through compassion that doesn't suck other people's energy or you giving your energy. You're coming in from that perspective as that disconnected but connected being. We're getting back into the universal mind. Now, the question now is, how much more do we want to, perceive the thoughts from the collective mind, when we can now start perceiving the thoughts, or it's not even thoughts at that level, concepts, energies, consciousness from the universal cosmic mind. And that's why we need to get out of this separation. This is me, mind, body. No, yes, body is there. Yes, it's a hologram. We all know that. Heart, gut, yes. Those are the feelings that come that are directly connected. And then the mind, we have to be really thoughtful, thoughtful. What is it that we are connecting to? And the more we are defining ourselves, the more we're trying to put meaning to stuff. This is why we always do shit like, doesn't make sense. Yes, good. It's good. Let's not have something that doesn't necessarily make sense, because if we stay in the meaning phase, in the mind, collective mind phase, in the mind creates matter phase, without opening ourselves, opening our mind to a bigger perspective, we're not gonna start creating beyond what we have already created.
But before we get to that higher, more expansive, connective state, we have to work on dropping all the previous baggages that we've been carrying with us for such a long era of time. Because entering this new era of light, it's not going to allow for those past baggages to come along with you, because it's a fresh space to be in. It's a different place that we're entering into. And as you were talking before, something just popped in my mind that said, what if the graduation that we've been hearing about is not a graduation where, you know, like when you go to school or college, you have a big graduation where everybody graduates at one time? What if, and I'm saying, what if the graduation is already happening for us, and we are individually, as we get to a certain point in our conscious awareness evolution, we are actually in the process of the graduation? That just popped into my mind.
Absolutely.
We are individually graduating, so we're never going to really see a grand graduation happening. There's not going to be a grand party or anything like that, because each one is doing it at their own pace, individually, and it's happening slowly as we gain more understanding and expanding our consciousness and dropping all the old baggages off at the terminal, wherever baggages are taken. And then it goes into wherever it needs to go.
I would absolutely agree with you on this one. And the celebration is very much an internal celebration. It's a celebration. It's like what we're saying what we've said last time, is saying that the awakening is not what we think it is. It is already happening. We're already doing it. And it never looks like the way we think it will look like. Yeah, it's the capacity of maintaining a level of joy no matter what happens outside of ourselves, no matter what happens in the collective mind that is outside of ourselves. That's what that's that state of beingness, that state of joy. And then, of course, when, like we are in this, whichever bubble you find yourself in, you're finding other people. And when you start sharing the change in perception, which is nothing else than a rise of your level of awareness, you're still going to go out and go for your walks and rake your leaves louder, like you said, but you're going to do it from a different, you're actually going to enjoy it, or not. You don't really have to enjoy bloody everything, but it's that level, the perception is going to change, and the connection. So and the question is, when we are focusing too much on the mind in the matter, like all these idioms, like we were talking about, powering through and controlling the mind and all of that. This is not what we're looking at in terms of changing our perception to have a greater perspective of possibilities. We have to have an open mind, or just take the mind and put it outside matter, put it away, put it outside of your body, and then see how that, play with that a couple of days. I've done this. I said that in the beginning for whoever wasn't here. Take the mind, put it outside matter. Yeah, whatever that means to you. It doesn't really have to make sense, right? And just see what happens. And don't think for 1 second you're not going to function. You function absolutely with a much more expanded space of being.
Yeah.
Which with less, you feel less separate, less defined. Now, not it. Lots of people find that is not a very comfortable place because they're hiding behind their definitions. Think of how often you say, or we say, I am this, or I am that. You're all of that and so much more. The entire business world is based on who are you? What are you? What is your niche? How many, just 1 second, Lana, before I forget, it's like the definition of, oh, I'm a mother. I have to be a certain way. As soon as the child leaves, oh God, I've got nothing. I fall apart because I'm no longer that. Well, what else are you? Or if a partner leaves you, people fall apart because they are so identified with the role that with the mask. And in reality, none of that. That just creates more separation and less connection.
Yeah. I was thinking, all the things, all the definitions that you gave previously here was like, we've been there, we've done that. How many more times do we have to go around in this cycle of doing it over and over? It comes to a point where there's repetition and there's no illumination following that repetition.
Absolutely.
Because how many times can you do the same goddamn thing over and over and over again? And sometimes, for example, when you watch certain movies, right, you'd see the same thing over and over as well. And it's like, can I continue to watch movies like this? And I said to myself, no, it's just wasting my time. My time is more precious than watching this. I've been there, I've done that. I don't need a new movie made in year 2021 to tell me the same thing.
Choice.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Choice. Mind outside matter.
Yeah, you get bored with these same things over and over. Can you make something different to expand our mind? Don't make the same old garbage movies over and over. The story, you can even tell the story, how it's going to end, because of the repetition that you've been through for so long of a period of time,
So Caitlin is saying it's the apparatus of distraction, and it is. And even the boredom of distraction, yeah, is a distraction, ladies. Right? Even when we say we're bored of it, that's a distraction too, because again, we're putting ourselves back into the victimhood. Say, okay, well, we don't really care what's happening on the outside, because we know that we are here to create our own bubbles of realities. That's that personal inner journey. And then people will join or they won't. Yeah. Right. So like we started off with 3 people and so, okay, cool. Yeah. Well, just us, Lana, Nicola, and I. And then we have other people joining us now, But that's the thing. Is what you're doing joyful enough? And then, of course, the other thing is with this meaning and mind creating matter and all of that. We always have to ask ourselves the question, is like, are we still trying to prove that this reality sucks? Or are we
No,
trying to prove that there's a different reality out there? Every time we come from a place of having to prove something, we're already going into collective mind again. What if you didn't have to prove anything?
I'm
Right?
thinking to myself as you're saying, having to prove. We had 4 different paradoxes to prove all that already. We did all the proving and the proofing and everything in the 4
Yeah.
paradoxes.
Oh, I
We're in
love
the
that.
5th.
Yeah, I like you said that. Yeah. We have
Mhm.
proven, girls, we've done it. We've proven ourselves in the old ways. We don't have to prove that this reality stinks. No, that's fine.
Oh, yeah. How many times do we have to prove it? We already proved it 4 times. We're in the 5th line of thinking. So this 5th one is about remedy and resolve. So we proved it all of.
Yeah, and this one in the face of enlightenment, or realization or something, it's all about joy now. It's all about fun. It's all about ease. Again, for the ladies who weren't here in the beginning, is we started off saying, the old paradigm of we have to work hard. Well, no, we have to work smart.
It's about learning how to enjoy the experience.
Yes, Jennifer. And also, even I redefining, talking about definition, re-looking at success.
Mm-hmm.
What is success? It's different for everyone. What is success? I mean, I don't want to go into this now, but I mean, this is in itself. And when we say about getting out of definition, as long as we have bodies and have this experience as human beings on this planet, there is a level of definition that is required, but that changes continuously. And that does not require a mind. Because think of the body in itself, without having projected thoughts into it, reacts and exchanges molecular structures with others through spatial walking around. As soon as you touch something, with animals, with nature, it changes anyway. This is not even something we need to do. We just need to become more aware of what's happening, what happens when we're doing certain things, when we're eating certain things, when we're meeting certain people. I went to town yesterday, as I said earlier on. I was exhausted, absolutely exhausted on the way home. Now, what was it? Other than my shoes, blisters everywhere, and stuff like that. I don't know whenever I learn to actually walk with shoes that, don't give me that. But apart from that, I was really exhausted. It just made me realize, how the body, and there was no negative thought or anything, how we exchanging energy, consciousness continuously.
So now that comes back to our auric field, where we fortify our auric field. So the more we gain more awareness, we strengthen that field. So when we go out and we're interacting with others, nothing can penetrate that auric field to come into your skin suit technology, right? It's like the magnetosphere of the earth. If it passes that auric field and it gets to your body, then your body would feel ill or pain or something like that. So we fortify our auric field and we say, thus far and no further. You can't enter this space. This is my bubble of reality. This is my space. And I'm not going to let you in. And if something does enter in, you say, how the hell did you get here?
Yeah.
This is not my mind thinking this. This is the thought coming from outside, or something is deliberately trying to penetrate into our consciousness for it to affect our bodies.
I would think that a lot of that protection is, it's unconscious, right? It's our energy field doing its job and exchanging energy with others in the way that we've set that boundary, but it's still doing that behind the scenes, and it's still unconsciously either having to shield up and protect or exchanging information. Whereas when you're home and you're in your bubble, you don't have that energy being expended from yourself. When I'm around a bunch of people, I'm not consciously thinking about, I've already shielded up, I'm not consciously thinking about it all the time, but I still feel that that energy was spent by the time I get home.
Well, absolutely. The thing is, there is no amount of protection you can actually use not to exchange with your environment. Yeah. The best way to look at it is step into your potency. Know that you're a potent morpher, whatever energy that is, you know how to alchemize it, you know how to, change it. And also know where you're going. I mean, I went yesterday, I went into the Docklands. Yeah. The energy there is, I love it, absolutely love it. Very, very different to where I live at the moment. But, it was, I mean, that's why I love going there. But you got the London Tower, the Tower of London, yeah, which was built in 1066 or some shit like that. You got all these other energies, these huge buildings, completely different era, you got the Tower Bridge, you got the Thames. I was on the Thames. I mean, the energy is there, and it's because I have a huge background with those energies. That's what hit me at the end. It didn't really hit me, but I felt exhausted. I knew I just needed some space after that, and I just brought in all my energies, but I let go of everything because everything was communicating. And this is the thing, this is not going to go away. It's going to get worse. The more awareness you have, think of the light and the fly. Yeah, the flies. Yeah. Look, it's okay. I don't mind, but I needed an hour. Come home, say, Ems, that's fine. And she went up the room. I said I was like, okay, yeah. There is so much going on, depending on where you're at as well. And I'm perfectly aware of in which city I am. Yeah, I'm choosing it because I like it. I know I have the potential to live here. I'm not, I don't need to get out because I can't hack it. No, I know because I need to be here. There's a reason why I'm here. I don't need to live up on a fucking mountain. I've done this many, many lifetimes, And that's the way to look at it, to turn this around and say, oh, do I need to protect myself because this is all nasty entities and psychic attacks and all that? Yeah, the shit is out there, yes, but also acknowledge who you are. That's the potency. Step into it. Amy, do you want to say something? Hi, Amy.
Hi, everyone. I didn't know how to raise my hand. So, okay. Can I go back? I don't know where you guys started, but can I go back to where you wrote, did you write matter outside, mind outside matter? And then I thought mind over matter. Okay. You know where I went? Straight to mind over matter. And it's talking about the potency you guys were just saying, like the power within. It was, I don't know if most of you have given birth, pushing, through the body part, but that's where your mind, you're in so much pain that your mind, it was like I could feel it, where you're in that potent, everyone's around, everyone's staring at you, and you're just in that moment by yourself, and your mind and your matter, each other, they're not taking each other over. It's like you're just working together in birthing whatever it is. That's how I felt it to be, even though it was so pain, the pain. It's like you got through it. Like we did it.
Mm. That's such a perfect example here for mind outside matter, because we were looking at I looked at the definition of mind over matter. It's very much like we have to control the situation to overcome it, illness, pain. Now, when you give birth, everybody knows you don't fucking controlling shit, because you just, do whatever. You just do. You don't even know what you're doing, right? That's definitely mind outside matter. There is no longer a definition of it's like anymore. You just know you want to get through this. That's a great example. Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
I love mind outside matter. Just try it. I mean, you might already doing it. For me, it was like when I started a couple of days ago, and I just put it outside of myself. I thought, let me do this. Nice. Just much more space. Get those mind chatter out, away from you. Yeah. Outside. Stay away from it. It's a bit like when you work with entities and they're all like coming into your field and you say, hey, back off. You literally take them, step outside. And then one by one, you can come in. Keep that space, Because
I just had a thought,
yes.
Martina. You're saying mind outside of matter, and the thought came to me, well,
Boy, you're breaking up, Schnooks. I can't hear. Can you girls hear her?
No.
I think we lost you there, Lana.
great mystery. Can you hear me?
Yeah, repeat, please. Repeat your question.
Oh, okay. What I was saying, what if, well, I started out with, what if there's a mind outside of dark matter? I'm thinking about dark matter, and then I was thinking, scientists can't figure out what dark matter is, right? So I was thinking that one day, what if dark matter is actually the great mystery? And great spirit, great mystery came out of, according to Dancing the Dream book, great spirit came out of great mystery. And in order for a great mystery to recognize its awareness itself, great spirit became light. And this is where we all came from, the great spirit's light. We're soul shards or soul spark of great spirit's light. So in order for great mystery to recognize its awareness and to play with its own self, it created itself as light itself, photonic light. So mind is not outside of matter. Matter is not outside of mind. It's all one, the same thing. And like you would say, who cares, right?
Absolutely. At the end of the day, there's nothing to talk about anymore, because it's just energy and we're just consciousness, and that's
right.
No, but absolutely. And look, they're already saying the black holes, they're already starting to understand or appreciate that there's mindfulness.
And
of course,
I was having this thought the other day, and I had to laugh about it as well. And I was thinking, what if we're all just processors, or our bodies are just processors of waste, universal waste, right? Because we consume food, we consume air, it passes through our body in the end as waste, right? So we go to the bathroom. What if we're just universal processors for waste?
Or potential. I'd like to look at it from that way. Even waste, there's potential, as far as I'm concerned.
So and what if that's really what our purpose is in the universe is, to process waste? And the great mystery is laughing at all of us and say, hey, look at that one. He or she is processing this waste for me and that waste for me, you know. And every being in the universe is a processor, a waste processor, plant.
Processor, yeah. No, I'm sure we are all consciousness processors.
And in the end, who cares?
Exactly, exactly. And this is the thing, you know, at the end of the day, that's where, you know, as long as you're having fun with what you're doing, you're enjoying it, and you're working smart, not necessarily hard. Even if you enjoy working hard, well, then work hard. You know, it doesn't really matter. None of it matters. It all depends on the context and who you're talking to and what you want to, you know, bring out of. So Caitlin is saying your consciousness is like a projector, illuminating with a film strip, illuminating the scene of reality that best reflects your chosen state of being. Well, here we go. Here we go. And then, of course,
projecting waste.
If you want to project waste, you go for the waste. If you want to project potentiality, consciousness, you choose, guys. Choose whatever you want to project. So going back to the matter, there's another good question we can ask ourselves is how much are we trying to matter to others?
We used to want to matter to others, but we are at the point now where it doesn't matter what we matter to others.
It doesn't matter if we matter, because now we actually really, once you don't mind if you matter, you're actually starting to matter, right?
You're mattering to the universal consciousness now.
Exactly.
Because as I said, we've done this 4 times already. So it doesn't matter anymore. Nothing matters for what we did in the past. It's what we are doing now, like Andrew would say, what we're doing now, who we're being now, is what really matters.
Absolutely. So mind outside matter, mind over matter, mind in matter. Meaning creates matter. Does it matter? What you guys got? Is there anything that comes up for you?
It matters not what it be.
Make up your mind. Make up your mind. Make up your mind. It's not my fucking mind. It's a collective mind. I work from the heart, right? Of course, this is just tongue in cheek because, you know, this is again causing separation. Yeah. We're taking the information, we're processing in conjunction with the heart and the gut.
What if the heart is the actual engine, the processor for matter?
Well, look, there's nothing wrong with mind. There's nothing wrong with brain. There's nothing wrong with ego. We do need it. Yeah. This is not saying we don't need mind. We don't need ego. We don't need any of that. Everything has its place. Yeah. Everything has its place. We're just looking at the over significance of mind that can throw us into separation, and what the separation, it throws us into fear and into worry. And then, you know, the invitation to get out of the mind, to really look at it for what it is, as a processing machine, the brain, and start to actually work more with the heart, work more with the gut, and create that complexity. This is the whole thing when we're looking at, and even saying, you know, so what is this a feeling now from my heart connecting to what is that? And at the end of the day, it's all masturbation. Yeah, mental masturbation. We know all that, but this is how we learn, right? Once we know this is a feeling that comes from the heart and there's no doubt about it, and I trust completely, and this is me, and this comes from, God knows where it comes from. It feels right. It creates it it instantly manifests. Well, then we don't have to talk about it on the Zoom anymore. There will not be a Zoom anymore. We'll just be out there, enjoying ourselves, right? I would say it's all matter is made of consciousness. Absolutely, yes. And what is consciousness? It's love.
Ah, now we're talking a good
Yeah,
love.
now we're talking. This is what we have to come back to, but we
Let's go
cannot
back.
talk about love from the old place of relationships only. No, we need to, consciousness is love. It's the opposite of separation, of fear. So it's getting bigger and bigger and bigger, the concepts that we're talking about. And then sometimes we need to chunk it down. And of course, by asking questions, we can then pull new ideas and new thoughts from whichever mind out there. Do we have Freddie Mercury? Nothing really matters. Yeah. Yeah, I know it all along. Yeah, know your mind. I've just written down a couple of more of those. Mind your own business. Good mind to do. Be in a good mind, a mind of one's own. Make up your own mind. Speak your mind. Know your mind. So, if you look at those idioms, it's very interesting because nobody talks about connection. It's all about disconnection. Pay no mind. Yeah.
Why do they call it mindfulness? When we're in mindfulness,
That's a
isn't
very,
that,
that's
isn't that supposed to be like a meditative state?
I like that. I've never really done a lot of this mindfulness business, but you're absolutely right. You want to go mindlessness, not full.
Yeah, not full.
Mindlessness.
I like that. Mindless.
We should call it heartfulness. But again, it's that emphasis on the mind, right? Mindfulness.
I mean, I guess it's supposed to mean like you're to clear your mind.
Yeah, that's the idea, obviously.
I mean, that's the idea, but
isn't part of the programming though to keep us from exploring our consciousness, and so to keep us focused on mindfulness, to keep us in the body, focused on the doer of things instead of the explorer and understanding of things. So there's probably some sorcery in that as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I like that. And that's not said from a place of now we have to protect ourselves and no, absolutely. I like that because mindfulness, you can take it either way. You got to be careful because there might be mindfulness experts out there and whatever I say now is the wrong thing. So, I'm not a mindfulness expert. We're just playing with words. Yeah. Mindless. I like mindlessness.
So how about the one?
It's the slowing down of the. Okay, so what mindfulness? I do remember I went to one of those evenings once, and we had to eat a grape for 5 minutes or some shit like that. I was like, oh my God, to really enjoy the grape and and the texture of it all and things like that. So slowing down and basically starting to focus. I think mindfulness is very much like a focus, isn't it? To focus on something more, which probably also says, you're releasing the thoughts by you focusing on something, being intentional on something. Yes. But again, yeah, it's limiting in a way. Because if you get rid of the thoughts, you can just, step into anything you want to step into, right? Because we are that anyway. We have the capacity to hone in whatever we want to. We just need to clear the crap. Get rid of the trash. Because it's almost like the mindfulness, I remember that it was so limiting in a way. It's like, well, I have to focus on a bloody grape now for 5 minutes. Ugh. Okay, maybe I wasn't the right subject for that, but I'd want to like think of, I think of it's like opening the fridge and it's fully stacked, right? Poop, pool of potential, lots and lots of potentials. And I have no definition, I have no importance, no significance. I can just choose whatever I want to choose, right? Is that mindfulness? Not necessarily in the normal definition, but that's for me, that I'd like that. That's full. Potential, full potentialness. I like that. Full potentialness.
So how about you're out of your mind? What
Yeah,
does
out of
that
your
really
mind.
mean?
Yeah. What's wrong with you? Out of
How-
your mind?
Yeah, how can I be? How is it that you're out of your mind?
Mm.
I would assume that only when you're dead you can say that. And you're actually saying it to the body. But you're never out of your mind.
And what's wrong with that? Love to be out of my mind, but it's not said in that context, right? It's always like, what's wrong with you? You're out of your mind. And this I loved. This is the language, back going to language, which we obviously had discussions about. It's amazing. The sorcery, Jennifer, you used the word that's in those idioms. Yeah. And it's amazing because obviously the work that I'm doing is with metaphors of movement. It's Andrew Austin's work. And he works with idioms. You know, he's like, you come there, you have a problem, and just on the basis of what the words that you're using to describe your problem, he comes up with idioms. So he just repeats basically what you're saying, but he puts it into certain idioms, which on a subconscious level triggers the shit out of you. Because it's not projecting anything on you, just using the idioms, and it's like whoosh, it goes straight into the subconscious, you know, and it starts to trigger greatly. Very, very powerful, but not for the faint-hearted. As I said before, I had people walk out of my sessions. Very powerful. I love doing it myself. And or you can actually do it yourself. It's like, okay, you got an issue, or even what does mind outside matter mean to you? What does it mean? What does it look like? And then you start drawing. We have quite a few creative people. You're just drawing. What does that look like? Right? And then you start drawing something, and then you move. I've done it before on one of the Zooms, some of the Zooms. You just move from one side into the next. You don't even have to use the idioms, but very powerful stuff. Yes. Andrew Austin. Yes. You said Andrew Austin. Amazing guy. Very controversial, but he's got lots of YouTubes up as well. And you can, and he charges next to nothing. I don't know how he does it, but very good guy. Not for the faint-hearted, as I said. But he's good. Yes. Metaphors of movement. Metaphors of movement, that's one of his. That's the thing I trained with him. But he's got other stuff too. He does eye movements. Yeah. Okay, ladies.
Well, can I say something about that when
Please.
Lana said mind over, you're out of your mind?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how to explain it, but I saw this, it was like this truth, but that's my truth. You see me as out of my mind, but what if that's my truth? What if I'm doing this? I don't know, it could be something crazy. I'm going to bungee jump. You're out of your mind. But if that's what I want to do, that's what I'm going to do.
Absolutely.
So I saw that. I saw truth. I saw, well, that's my truth.
Yeah, it's not meant, it's obviously meant as a judgment when somebody says that to you, most of the times. Yeah,
Or
it's a
control.
control, judgment, you know, jealousy, whatever. So the best answer to that is, yes, I am. Thank you. Thank you. Yes, I am. It took me how many years to get there?
Well, if you think about it, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Can you hear me? Okay.
Yes.
If you
Yes.
think about it, we are out of our mind having this discussion here.
Totally. And some people probably think we're total
Out
mindless
of our mind.
bitches. And yes, we are. Thank you. Thank you very much. But this is the thing, when we get to that level of exploration, and you know, you can't go back into alignment and agreement, resisting and reacting. Another one of those axis things, you know, never align and agree, never resist and react. Of course, we all do it still, but you know, just keep that in mind, because you're just gonna go down a trail of destruction. Yeah. And judgment. And look, key to all of that awakening business, whatever you want to call it, remembering, realization, is non-judgment. And coming from this place of true interest, or not, or walk away. It's like whatever people say, if you're not interested, okay, what's interesting point of view. That's fine.
Well, we come back to been there, done that times 4.
Yeah. And just choice, non-judgment, and choice is only there when we don't judge. Because remember, whatever we judge, we cannot choose. Whatever
Right,
we
it
judge,
blocks.
we cannot choose, because we cannot perceive anything that is outside of our defined judgments. It's invisible to us almost. That's the stuckness. That's whatever we're making important. And if you don't take anything away from this, other than whatever you make significance, whatever you make important, whatever you make, what's another word for it? Which other word? Yeah, define yourself as. You can't go beyond it. That's where the limitation is. And this is where the mind discussion comes in, because the mind is all about definition. It's all about creating meaning to create matter. And there's obviously need for that. There's a place for that. And then what else is possible that we haven't considered yet? Opening our minds, or just taking them outside of us. That's what I'm doing from now on. Just park it off there. Just like the soul. Pick what you want, leave the rest. This is with the soul as well. You don't want every bloody soul shot come in. Some of them are just totally useless. You know, heal them, let them go. Don't pick them up. Good. My mind is empty. Parked it all out there. It's out there. I got nothing to say anymore. Any questions? Any more contributions? Have we blown our minds to pieces? Then we have achieved something. Thank you. Thank you. That's the whole point, to blow our minds apart, to vortex. Don't have to vortex for it, but you know, if we walk away and think, what the hell was that? No, we had a good Zoom. All right, my lovies. So,
Yeah.
Lana, have you got something before we close down?
No, I think when we started out, we didn't know what we were going to talk about, but I think this conversation was really interesting.
Yeah, did you enjoy it? Good.
Yeah,
Good.
yeah. The mind and and the mind outside of matter. And, like we said, it doesn't matter in the end. It's all consciousness in the end.
Yeah.
And we use matter to solidify things so that we can see it and play with it and break it down and remake it and build it over and recycle and all those awesome things to enjoy in the universe.
And when we're talking now about materializing things just like that, yeah, this is where the alchemy comes in. This is where we step into our potency, into our magic, where we can just create matter just like that. Yeah.
Wouldn't that be interesting if we start doing that?
Well, let's
just
start
naturally.
doing that. Yeah, let's work with that. So we're not poo-pooing matter, obviously, living in a place the way we do. We love matter, but we need to look at it from a slightly different perspective, because we want to start creating different things, additional things. What can we add to our lives? So stop trying to look at things that have mattered to us that much. Acknowledge that we can't control them anyway, and open our minds to start creating from a different perspective, and then see what kind of minds we can actually tap into other than the collective, which we all have already obviously tapping into. Much.
I was thinking if there was no matter, we'd have no shoes.
Exactly, and I would have no fucking blisters either. That's not true, because blisters are matter as well, isn't it?
That's why they made sneakers.
Oh God, such blisters. Anyway, it was a very good day out though. I really enjoy London. I enjoyed it. Okay, my lovely ladies, thanks for coming on, and I enjoyed our conversation today. Thanks for being here, for your contributions, and you all matter to me. Absolutely. And I'm going to send the recording out, and I'll see you soon. I'll see you next week.
Thank you, everybody.
Take care. Bye.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.